Continue. The spokesman is not allowed to detract from and add to or change to the teacher's words. Commentary. The Rambam's statements are quoted from Yerushalayim Talmud, Megillah 4:10. The Ravad differs and quotes narrative from Yoma 20b, which relates how Rav serves as a spokesman of Rav Shilat and altered the connotation of his words. Ravad explains that since Rav's scholarship was greater than Rav Shilat, he was entitled to do so. The case of Mishnah states that Rambam did not mention this possibility because it's very improbable that the greater sage would serve as a spokesman to this sage of the lesser stature. So this example in the Talmud was a little, not a little, big exception, which is more prominent rabbi worked as a spokesman for a less prominent rabbi. I mean, they were great on an amazing level, both of them, but still we know that the spokesman was on the higher level. So he would add some things on his own, right? So develop or even change the wording. So that's, but it's an exception. So usually you can add like to strengthen the point, or you heard that your teacher explained it like this and like that, right? 3 times or 5 times over the years, but now he does not mention this additional point. So you can add it. Why? Because it just serves the purpose, right? And you got this information from this teacher, not from anybody else. So it's still his Torah. But here they're talking about the changing completely, or changing the words completely, or like ignoring. Okay, continue. Okay, so let's do the whole sentence again. Any questions? Okay. Spokesman is not allowed to detract from, add to, or change the teacher's words unless he's a teacher's father or a teacher. So here we go. They mentioned this as example, right? The exception, or teacher's father. I'm not sure why father would translate for. I mean, be spokesman for a teacher. Maybe my understanding maybe that let's say this teacher came from Israel to Babylonia, so people would not speak Babylonian. Would not speak Hebrew, so the father who knows both languages would translate. I guess that would be the scenario. Commentary. Rabbi Nissim explained that a teacher or a father allowed to serve as a spokesman for his students, since they will not be jealous of the honor afforded them. So usually teachers, if they're normal, and father, if they're normal, right, they would be very proud of their children and students, like because why? Simple explain, because their achievement is my achievement. Whatever they did is actually, is because of me also, right? So why would I be jealous? Would be proud of him, right? That's why there is no problem. So they could serve. But scholar on a higher level, that's would create jealousy, of course. I mean, might. Okay. The case of Mishnah relates that Rambam's phraseology indicates a situation which is after the fact, b'diavad, right? So, and ideally, neither father or teacher should serve as a disposition. So, because in some sense, the students or son is on a higher position and father on the lower, so b'diavad after the fact, no problem. But don't do it initially. Continue. If the teacher tells the spokesman, my teacher told me, if the teachers, my teachers told me following, or my father and the teacher told me the following, when the spokesman relates the teaching to the people, he should quote the statement in the name of the sage who authored it. So, meaning that this person, the translator or spokesman, whatever we call him, so he must be ready to know all of these teachers and their names and the father name. Meaning, as we said before, it cannot be just a random person who just knows the Torah. It's not enough. Mention the name of the teacher's father or a teacher, saying, right? So that's how he should say, so and so, the sage said the following. Commentary. Kiddushin 31b relates that Rav Ashi's son lectured. When the Rav Rashi's son lectured, he would tell the spokesman, "This is what my father and teacher said," and the spokesman would say, "This is what Rav Ashi said." Okay, which makes sense. So I mean, why? Where's the problem? So the problem is that we are not allowed to call our parents by the first name, right? Mother or father. So we have to relate to them some different name, and that's why it's not proper to call to name your children after your parents. So in Ashkenazic circle, we never do that after a living person. It's a very, very bad sign. But, so you usually name after deceased, if they were of proper character. Yeah, so you'll name after deceased. But in Sephardic, sometimes they do name after a living person. So maybe after grandparents or somebody, right? So it's very interesting. So, but still, it's not allowed to call. But it would be very problematic to call this little child in the presence of the person that they named it, name this child after, right? Because even though you addressing the child, but in the same it looks like, right? It looks like that you might be addressing your mother, father, or grandfather by name, first name. That's a big issue, of course. This is allowed despite. So okay, so I mean, for him it's allowed. I mean, he said, as my father told me, right? So for a son, there is no problem to say my father told me, right? But this spokesman has to use the actual name. This allowed despite the fact that the teacher did not mention the sage's name, because it is forbidden to refer one's teacher or father by name. Right, so they say Ani Mori, like my father, my teacher, or they call Reb, right, meaning respectful address, and like some, but not the name. Okay. This is allowed despite the fact that teachers does not mention the sage's name, because it is forbidden to refer to one's teacher or father by name. 29 commentary. So it's same as father, same as the teacher. Kiddushin, same place, mentioned the concept within the context of the law governing respect due to one's father. See Hilchos Mamrim 6.3. This concept is also quoted in chapter 5, Halachah 5, so meaning next chapter, as explain the proper respect due to a teacher. So you cannot call him by first name. Okay, so 1 second, check time. Any questions on what we said? Okay, so we have the same time. So it's this actually I'm not calling parents by name. It's actually very relevant to Ashkenazim, right? When man is being called to the Torah. So Sephardim do it very simple. They just call by Aliyah, right? They say Shlishi, right? For example, they call by the number of the Aliyah, but in Ashkenazim they say first the name. So it's your name and name of your father. That's the issue. So some people just pronounce the name of their father which is very, very improper. Some people who do not know. Many people know, but not everybody. Or like they were not prepared, that they were not going to be being called to the Torah, so they can make this mistake. Okay, next halacha number 4. So we tried. So we say Abraham. So the person named Abraham, and his father name is Yitzchak. So it says. This Gabbai said, "What is your name?" For example, many times in the bigger places, in small places, of course, they know your name, and everybody, like, of course. But in a bigger place, or if you're new in the shul, I mean, you're a guest, they don't know your name. So they say, well, what is your name? So you say, my name, Abraham ben Reb Yitzchak. That's it. So that's, you put some respectful title to your father. There is no problem.